Late Night Health continues with our friend Dave Foreman, the late herbal pharmacist. I had to get something in, Dave. Dave and I met, I guess about, 6 weeks ago? Has it been 2 months?
I think it's been actually, it was October, first or second week in October, so yeah.
So we hooked up then, we talked for a little bit. We were going to get together, and Dave said he'd call me. I said I'd call him, and Dave called me, but he actually ran off with his girlfriend, and I don't blame him.
Man.
You know, talking to me or
you are bad, man.
or talk. You know, so we had Dave has been on the show a couple times. We always have a good time with him, and of course, he shares a lot of great information. You're a pharmacist from a traditional standpoint, and there was a light switch that went on. Tell me about that quickly, and then we're going to talk about the holidays.
Yeah, actually, I never can tell it quickly, but when I used to own you're right, I'm a traditional pharmacist. I went to pharmacy school, ended up going to school because I wanted to own my own drugstore. Got kind of burned out on owning my store and sold it 18 years ago, but in the interim of owning it, I decided to put in a full line of natural health supplements, herbs and vitamins and homeopathics, and then just started to learn more about it and found out that actually there's an awful lot of science behind supplements that, I was taught in pharmacy school that, vitamins were expensive urine, and found out that was a big lie. And found out I could actually help people achieve health in a much better way. It might be a little slower in some cases, but 99.5% of the time it comes without any side effects. And
in your opinion, is there any need for pharmaceuticals?
Oh yeah, there definitely are, and that's where I probably vary from a lot of the other natural health expert people. Is that if Mark, if you came to me today and you said, Dave, I've got high blood pressure. It's 160 over 110. I don't know of anything that's going to keep your blood pressure down at a safe level. And if you maintain that level of blood pressure, for days or weeks, it depends. Every month, whatever it is, you're very prone to developing, or having a heart attack or a stroke. So I can help people with their blood pressure naturally, but it takes weeks to months to really achieve anything. So yeah, or severe infection. Antibiotics definitely play a role. They just get overused. But they're so yeah, there's definitely a time and a place for medicine. But I feel like unless it's life threatening, I can handle you.
And with the blood pressure, for example, if you have high blood pressure and you're taking medication, a prescription drug, can you take a homeopathic remedy at the same time?
Yeah, actually, it's interesting because I was just reading on that topic like 3 or 4 days ago. Actually, I was contributing an article for WebMD and so yeah, actually you can, but there's a caveat in there, and that is it depends on what medication you're taking, because there are always chances for interactions. But yeah, I've safely used, herbal, we'll call them herbal medicines, with people that, had medication. But the thing is that normally I won't even tell anybody what to do, because I need to make sure that they're getting their blood pressure monitored daily, and really maybe even more so multiple times a day, because when the supplements kick in, now granted, if you're significantly overweight and, you've been smoking 2 packs of cigarettes your whole life, it's going to take a long time before anything I recommend is going to really work. But the reality is that when it does start to work, your prescription medication is going to need to be reduced. And that's so. But it can be done. Yes, I know it's a long-winded answer to your question, but yeah,
low blood pressure can be a problem as well.
Yeah, actually, it's funny that there's a ton of people with hypotension, is what they call that, and that's another one that's actually pretty easily treated in natural medicine. And here's the twisted one: one of my favorite herbs for high blood pressure is also one of my favorite herbs for low blood pressure.
Huh.
Which makes people go, yeah, exactly. That's the response. They usually get like, what? What are you talking about? And yeah, so it's the herb hawthorn.
Dave, let's talk about the holidays because, the next, 3 weeks are loaded with Christmas parties, Christmas cheer, chocolate. Have I left anything out? I mean, it's really an eating frenzy starting now.
Yeah, and actually, I jokingly say it started back in October, on October 31st with Halloween.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Halloween, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's, and anything else in between that I might have missed, I apologize to people. But, and then you get past New Year's, and you've got people that are really into football, and you get the, playoff parties and Valentine's Day. It's like a 5-month gluttony period.
Right, exactly. We're talking with Dave Foreman about shaking off the Santa belly, and I'm thinking of those who celebrate Hanukkah. They eat fried foods. It's a tradition. If you're from Israel, you'll eat a fried donut. It's usually a jelly donut, which is not necessarily the healthiest thing in the world. Those of us whose families come from Eastern Europe eat what are called latkes, which is a fried potato pancake. I would prefer the donut to the latke, and always have. How do you push back and say, not going to do it? I mean, you can't grill a latke.
No, I know, and actually, I'm the opposite. So you and I would be great at the party because I'll have the latke, and so we would have no problem with that whatsoever. Well, how do you push away from that? Well, I mean, granted, and those are parts of. I mean, those two foods there are truly part of the festivity, and so I feel like you have to participate,
right?
And I mean, you look like an idiot probably if you don't, or feel like one. And the frying. There's two things that go on with that food that you just mentioned. The frying, because most of the oils we cook in are saturated fats, and those are bad for the heart. But the other thing that they both have in common are that they're both starches, and we now know that starches are probably the biggest culprit for why people gain weight. Not just gain weight, though, Mark, like with body fat, but even just get bloated. People that go carb-free or low-carb usually lose a lot of bloating. So, like today I might weigh 180 pounds, and I feel bloated, so my belt might be a little snug. Tomorrow, I would wake up and say I haven't eaten any starches for several days. Then, tomorrow or the next day, I might wake up and my belt's not as tight, yet I still weigh the same amount. And so a lot of times with starchy foods, you get bloated. So, how do you push back from them? Honestly, I don't know. I love starchy foods. So what I do is actually one of my tips for you today is, other than obviously don't eat them, try not to eat those starchy foods after, in the afternoon or later. Regretfully, most of those things you mentioned go with a meal that's afternoon or later. So if you can't do that, if you can't stay away from those starchy foods, then what I do, because I do like pretzels and popcorn and chips and stuff like that, I use a supplement when I'm going to eat that stuff. It's called Phase 2, PHASE and the number 2. So Phase 2 is the name of the ingredient. It's a starch blocker or a carb blocker. It inhibits starches from being broken down into sugar. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to go to a party.
It's made from a bean, isn't it?
Yeah, it comes from white kidney beans. So, but I don't usually talk about it that way because if you go to some of the, some stores, they might sell something called white kidney bean extract or white kidney bean powder. And you're thinking it's a starch blocker, but not all white kidney bean products are the same. So that's why, in this case, I mentioned Phase 2 because it's, first of all, it's trademarked, it's patented.
They've done studies on this as well.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, as a pharmacist, I like things that have science behind them. It's something that I use. I'm so fond of phase 2. I do some educational work for the people who actually make the ingredient. I do stuff with them because, it's one of the few weight loss supplements that I can recommend where I'm not going to be totally freaking out about, it's not like the old days when people took stimulant weight loss products and I had to worry about they had high blood pressure or,
and their heart exploding.
Or anxiety or whatever. Phase 2 is a starch blocker. So for me, I don't normally eat starches, Mark, but when I do, I'll take it. So if I go 2 or 3 days where I'm just having normal veggies and nuts and, my normal fish and chicken and maybe occasional, beef, if I'm just eating those things and no rice, no potatoes, no pasta, none of those starchy foods, then I don't take it. But most Americans don't eat like me. They're going to eat that stuff, daily with every meal. And so for them, if you can't push it away, then I say take phase 2 before you eat it, even for snacks. You're going to a party, there's going to be some cookies and muffins and whatever, laying around, or Chex Mix, or pop a couple of phase 2 on your way in the car, and you at least can eat a little bit guilt-free,
What about wine and even hard alcohol?
Alcohol, and by the way, I'm going to be straight up honest with everybody. I love my wine, and regretfully, there's alcohol is, converted to sugar real easy. So you really do need to, be cautious of that. Anytime, say you're having a vodka drink and you're going to use a tonic or a soda, those bubbles will add bloat to you. So you may not necessarily gain weight, but you may become bloated, or you might retain a little extra fluid. Same thing with beer. Beer's the same way. Right.
Well, with vodka, for me, I either drink it up, which is without or on over ice, without any sweeteners in it, because I like the taste and, of course, the feeling. Within, not too many. Is that okay once in a while?
Yeah, it's funny. My first ever TV gig. They took me for a test drive, as I like to say, and they made me do a segment on the health benefits of alcohol. They wanted me to be pro or con, pick one and go with it. And the reality is that one, I'll call it adult beverage a day. So whether it's a beer, a shot, or a glass of wine, any one of those, if you have one every day, actually is normal for most people, is a very healthy thing to do. It's when we get to 2 every day, that's when it becomes very unhealthy for you. Or if you're one of those people who say, well, I don't drink, I don't have my one drink 7 days a week. I like to have 7 on Saturday and not go anywhere in my car.
That doesn't work, does it?
No, that's...
We're going to pick up in just a moment. Our guest is Dave Foreman. He is a friend of Late Night Health, and he is known as the Herbal Pharmacist. We're going to continue our Shake Off the Santabelly discussion and maybe even touch on quickly of why a lot of vegetarians are fat. I'm Mark Alyn. Late Night Health continues. Join us at latenighthealth.com.
If you're struggling to pay or haven't been making your student loan payments, listen carefully to this urgent alert. Have you been out of school for 10 or more years and you're still making your student loan payments? Are your student loans past due or even in default? Can't go back to school because of an old student loan problem? We can help you if you qualify. Your student loans can be taken out of default. We can stop the wage garnishments, stop the collection calls, and stop the seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and see if we can help you reduce your student loan payments. One quick 10-minute call could solve them right now. So call the Student Loan Helpline now.
800-419-2201. 800-419-2201. 800-419-2201. That's 800-419-2201.
This is a fee-based document preparation service to help you access free government programs. Call for complete details, not available in all states.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-789-7213 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-789-7213 to take your call now. Call 800-789-7213. That's 800-789-7213. Again, 800-789-7213.